At a time when Australian cities have never been more desperate for shade, our trees are under threat from a tiny pest about the size of a sesame seed that's been wreaking havoc here in Perth.
This tiny beetle packs a big punch. It kills large trees, for example, Port Jackson figs and Moreton Bay figs, so Brisbane and Sydney will be stripped of its shade. It kills London plane trees, which is one of the most important shade trees, particularly in Melbourne and Adelaide. It's going to cause fruit to become more expensive, mangoes and avocados and apples and pears. And it might get into our forests and devastate our unique flora.
It's called the polyphagous shothole borer. The beetle burrows into trees and cultivates a fungus which kills them.
It's originally from Southeast Asia and it's invasive in a few places around the world, including California, Hawaii, Israel, South Africa, and now Brazil and Argentina, and in Perth.
The beetle was first detected in Australia in 2021, here in Joanne Taggart's backyard.
So the first tree was located about here.
Two 40-year-old maple trees used to shade this entire space until one day their branches dropped off, riddled with strange holes and tunnels. She reported it to WA's Biosecurity Agency. And how worried were they when they realised?
Very. Like there was a bit of an invasion of biosecurity people that came.
Joanne's home is just a couple of k's from Fremantle Port, and it's believed the beetle may have arrived in wood packaging on a cargo ship.
I was absolutely devastated. My granddaughters had their birthday parties under those trees, my sons also, so yeah, it was very upsetting.
Since being found in East Fremantle, the beetle has spread across metropolitan Perth, even hitching a ride over to Rottnest. It can't fly far, but makes its way around hidden in garden waste, mulch and firewood. Nearly 5,000 trees have been wiped out because destroying them is the only approved treatment.
There is no chemical control available to eradicate the beetle. So once a tree is infested by the beetle, you cannot inject it with any insecticide or any other chemical that will ensure that every single beetle within the tree is going to be destroyed.
WA's lead biosecurity agency, Indepth, has been responsible for managing the beetle battle, which has already cost $57 million, jointly funded by state, territory and Commonwealth governments. But last month, a National Pest Control Committee decided to transition to management. Why are we giving up on eradication?
Based on all the information collected since August 2021, the management group made the decision that it was no longer technically feasible to eradicate the borer from Australia. We were at the point where the cure was worse than the borer.
The WA government has failed to eradicate this pest, and there are a number of concerns about that.
Kate Cheney's federal electorate of Curtin takes in Perth's leafy western suburbs, which have lost more than 3,000 trees. She says some constituents report waiting several months for Indepth to respond to an infected tree.
We needed rapid responses between identification and treatment and better data and information sharing. There are a range of chemical and other solutions that are being trialled, and that needed to be progressed and researched and shared much faster so that we could get on top of this before it got out of control.
This is the largest eradication program ever undertaken in the state. We've thrown all the resources we could at it.
Even before the beetle came along, Perth already had the lowest urban tree canopy of all the capital cities.
Climate change is driving us into more hotter temperatures, more extreme temperatures, and the benefits of, sitting under a beautiful big fig tree here at the moment, that can reduce the experienced temperature by up to 10 degrees. So it's the challenges that they have.
Bruce Webber is an expert in invasive species and climate change. He says governments need to look at the potential cost to the entire Australian economy.
South Africa, for example, have done a cost-benefit analysis on the impact of the beetle there. They came up with a figure of $28 billion over 10 years. So, for example, if you look at that amount of money and you look at spending, $100 million or $200 million on eradication, you can then see that it is money very well spent.
This tree's probably been infested for a couple of years. And you can see all of this damage through the sapwood. Female will have bored in through here and made side tunnels.
As Perth moves into the management era, researchers are in a race against time.
Oh, look at that.
This team at the University of WA is trialling a new treatment.
So we have no holes and no fungal damage. It is what we want to see.
Lab samples are showing promising signs the treatment can stop the fungus from spreading.
We are able to isolate several different species, and when we add more of the chemical, we have no growth.
On the other side of the country, there are fears it will only be a matter of time before the beetle crosses the Nullarbor.
One would have to consider that it would be quite likely that it will eventually spread further and start to spread east. So I think the most sensible thing is to assume it will be inevitable and put in place practices and actions so that if it does get here, we know what to do.
People are being urged not to move wood or plant material from inside Perth's infected zones and to be on the lookout for signs of the beetle, no matter where you live.
When the branches came down, I could see those little borer holes, I could see where they'd been tunnelling. I had seen impact on my tree, and those are kind of key things for people to look out for.